When I first started investing in Lego, the first thing I started with were the architecture sets. I like the architecture sets. I like the size of them. I like the price of them for the most part. I also like the fact that it seemed like the architecture sets did pretty well. If you looked at some of the original architecture sets, which was the Willis Tower or the Sears Tower, as also the John Hancock building, those are the first two architecture sets, and both of those had gone up by a factor of 8 to 10 times where they originally started at $20. So I really felt like architecture sets would be good ones to begin my investing with. A couple other sets that had done well with architecture was the Falling Water and the Roby House. Both of those sets had also gone up by a factor of 3 to 4 times their money. And so not every architecture set had done well, but it seemed like for the most part, the architecture sets had done well. They also started a subset of the architecture sets, which was the Skyline sets. They did those with Venice, they did Sydney, they did Berlin. And if you look at those Skyline sets, those have all done really well, 8 to 10 times where they started originally. And so I felt like architecture could be a good thing to start with investing. And I still think that architecture sets are a good one. However, today I want to talk about 3 specific sets that I think you should consider purchasing now and holding on to. And I also want to talk about 3 sets that I really feel like you probably should avoid. And I'll get into those here in just a minute. So let me talk to you about the 3 sets that I suggest that you invest in now. The first set is Tokyo. It's a beautiful set and relatively inexpensive. It's sold out on Lego.com, but still available on Amazon and other retailers. Lego continues to grow in Japan, and I can see a long life for this set, both in Japan and around the world. I believe it's going to retire before next Christmas and possibly much sooner. The second set that I would recommend would be the Paris Skyline set. This set was introduced in 2019, and I believe it will most likely also retire pretty soon. Paris is one of the most visited cities in all the world, and everyone knows about the Eiffel Tower. I think it's an iconic set that anybody who collects Lego will need to have in their collection. Buy a few of these sets, check back in 3 or 4 years. I think you're going to be very happy with the result. The next set I would recommend would be the set that I would recommend it, but it's probably the one I would recommend the least of the 3, and that's the London set. I actually have one right here. Although it is a great set, and although it is a beautiful set, and I think they did a great job with the design, but it's been out since 2017. So there were rumors it was going to retire last Christmas, and I really thought they would, but they just kept making more of it, and I think this set might be a little overproduced. If you can hold on to it for 4 to 5 years, however, I think you could see a nice return. Now let's talk about the 3 sets that I think you should avoid. These are just the 3 architecture sets that are currently available, but I do think you should avoid these sets. The first one I want to talk about is going to be the Statue of Liberty. It's been out since 2018, and they continue to pump these sets out year after year. I don't see much excitement in this set, and everyone who wants one pretty much already has one. I also think it's one of those sets that a lot of people think is a collectible, and anytime everyone decides to collect something, it's not going to be a great collectible. The next set I would not recommend in the architecture series right now is the White House. Now this is the second iteration of the White House. They made another one a few years ago, and it didn't even do that well either. So this iteration of the White House, I do not think is going to prove to be a great investment. It's a little bit larger, a little bit more expensive, and I just don't think this is going to be a great investment long-term for the architecture series. The last set that I would avoid in the architecture series, and I would avoid this one at all costs, is the New York City. So the New York City set has been out since 2016, and they just refused to retire this set for whatever reason. This is one of the longest sets that I've seen Lego go with since 2016, and I believe they just way overproduced it. The only thing I can think of why they continue to just keep pumping this set out is they keep selling it. Well, if they keep selling it, that just means more and more of these sets are out there, and I'm not sure when they're going to retire it. I heard a rumor they're going to retire it last year. Clearly they didn't, I've also heard rumors they're retiring it this year. Maybe they will, but even if they retire it this year, I think there's so many sets out there of New York City that I just don't think it's going to be a great investment for anybody. These are just my opinions, so I'd love to hear your opinions. Put a comment below and let me know if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, and either way, I'm going to try to figure out how to spin these Lego sets. I haven't done very good in the first 2 videos. Let me try see if I can do better here. No, that was terrible. One more time. All right, someone's got to teach me how to do this. I can't spin these dumb things.